I'm putting this on here right now because I know if my channel grows, someone's gonna be like,
see, this is what happens to YouTubers when their channels get bigger. They turn mentally insane.
no, you silly commenter. I've always been mentally Hi you guys, my name is Michelle McDaniel and welcome to my channel. My thoughts will probably offend you, and today we are doing episode 1 of what it's like having a father as a narcissist. Yes, episode 1, because these videos would probably be super long and I don't know if you guys have time for all of that. So I was watching Shane Dawson's series on Logan Paul and he was talking about traits of narcissism. And I was like, well, yep, that's my father. I just never had a name for it. I call it being an asshole, but I guess it's narcissism is the appropriate word in non-Michelle land. So I never thought my relationship or lack thereof relationship with my father would ever affect me because I've always been physically strong and mentally strong. But as I grow older, I noticed that daddy issues can really cause some mental issues. Now this video might be a little off-putting for some people. It probably already is a little off-putting. I'm sure you're expecting me to cry and be like, I never really knew my father and I just don't know how to function anymore. And that's just not really how I express myself. I don't think I'll cry on camera. I mean, I do cry a lot, but I do want to get my point across without making this so emotional so that other people can see that you don't have to have this affect you so much. You can still come out pretty strong. Not to say that I don't struggle with being weak mentally and how my upbringing or my childhood kind of affects me now. It definitely still affects me, but you don't have to have it suffocate you is the word. So like I said, it might be off-putting for some people. I'm very sarcastic. I use cartoons as examples. I draw cartoons as examples. And it's my story, and this is the way that I want to express it to you. So after watching Shane Dawson's series, I started reading more about narcissism. And in came a list of top traits of narcissists. And I thought I would pick a few and tell you a couple stories leading up to the recent events of me cutting off my dad. So today we are going to talk about 3 traits about narcissism: conversation hoarder, conversation interrupter, and false image projection. Conversation hoarder: the narcissist loves to talk about him or herself and doesn't give you a chance to take part in a two-way conversation. You struggle to have your own views and feelings heard. When you do get a word in, if it's not in agreement with the narcissist, your comments are likely to be corrected, dismissed, or ignored. While many people have the poor communication habit of interrupting others, the narcissist interrupts and quickly switches the focus back to him or herself. He or she shows little genuine interest in you. False image projection. Many narcissists like to do things to impress others by making themselves look good externally. This trophy complex can exhibit itself physically, romantically, sexually, socially, religiously, financially, materially, professionally, academically, or culturally. In these situations, the narcissist uses people, objects, status, and/or accomplishments to represent the self, substituting for the perceived inadequate real self. So now that we know a little bit of a background or, the definition of these traits, I'm gonna tell you guys a couple of stories about my childhood and just interactions with my dad. And by the end of this series, you guys are gonna kind of come to your own conclusion if he is a narcissist. I don't know, I'm not a therapist, but I do check Google. And the website was written by a therapist, so it's pretty much the same thing. I think it lines up so perfectly, and when I read this and think back to my childhood and all the interactions that I did have with my dad, because there wasn't that many, the ones that I did have were pretty bad. I think back and I'm like, damn, I had a very bad relationship with my dad, and I'm just realizing it at 28. So let's get into my daddy issues with this story time. Growing up, I learned from a young age that my dad needed to have a good image. He really emphasized on looking like the good person, making his family look like the perfect family. Because if he doesn't have a perfect family, that would make him not perfect. I personally think he only had kids because that's what you need to paint the perfect image or look like you have a successful life. You need the wife that stays home and cooks you dinner, ready to serve it for you when you come home from your successful job. You need at least 2 or 3 kids, me, my sister, and my brother, and you also need your kids to be successful as well. He was very controlling over what success meant to us, as in his head, you have to go to college to be successful. So one day we were on a family vacation in beautiful Hawaii. It sounds great and gorgeous and relaxing, right? It should have been, but it was the exact opposite. It was horrible. I hated the family vacations that my dad went on because you couldn't be yourself. If you said one thing that didn't fall under his belief, he would blow up. Blow up so much and so hard that he wouldn't stop until you changed your opinion to his. So we were in Hawaii and we went out to dinner. I was 9. I remember I ordered a steak, a baked potato, and some dessert. Cheesecake. I always loved cheesecake. And we finished dinner. We're going back to the hotel. I have no clue how the subject of college came up, but my parents were talking about it and I blurred out, I'm not going to college. I'm gonna be just like mommy. My mom didn't go to college. And my dad flipped out, yelling at me in public, pointing in my face, telling me I'm going to be a loser if I don't go to college. I will be nothing. Then ending it with, you don't wanna go to college, you're paying for that steak dinner. That's what happens when you're a loser and you don't go to college. I remember those exact words like it was yesterday. I babysat kids on the weekends and I worked really hard to make $25, which I was excited to have. It was my own money. Plus I got that $25 babysitting some pretty horrid children. But my dad made my little 9-year-old hands open up my Pokemon wallet and he snatches the money, rips it out of my hands and walks off. And he didn't talk to me for the majority of that trip. He literally cut off his 9-year-old daughter because she said that she wanted to be like her mom, the woman that he married. In public to a 9-year-old. What the heck, man? It took my mom to convince him to talk to me, his 9-year-old daughter. And even when he did have the discussion with me, he was still saying how I was wrong, how I was going to be a loser if I didn't go to college. And it took me, as a 9-year-old miniature human being, saying, I'm sorry, Dad, I'll make sure to go to college because it's the right thing to do. And only then did his whole expression, his demeanor change, and then he loved me. And at that time in my little 9-year-old head, I was like, oh, he's probably just watching out for me because he loves me, he wants the best for me. But now that I'm older and I hear him and his friends talk about all their accomplishments, pretty much kind of bragging about themselves and how much money they have and what kind of cars they have and how they live on a golf course and blah, 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 and bleh, all the stuff that I hate talking about. Specifically though, how they talk about their kids and their kids' accomplishments, because that goes back to them. They kind of use that as like, oh, my kids accomplished that, which means I accomplished that. It's the false image projection type thing. I mean, imagine someone who needs to have that successful image, who needs to have their kids also be successful, be in a group of men talking about their sons and daughters' success or what college they went to, and Bob over here says, oh yeah, Mary's going to Harvard, she's gonna make this amount of money. And Billy over here says, oh yeah, Jake's going to, I don't know where the hell Jake's gonna go to, but some, top school. And then they all look at my dad and wait for his answer, and my dad has to say, oh, didn't go to college. That will just make him feel less of a man. I also remember one day we were going to the mall. Sometimes my mom would send us with our dad just so she could probably get a break from him and us. I was a crazy child. I also hated when she would make us go on to little, trips with my father because, once again, they sucked. I would have much rather stayed home and watched Powerpuff Girls, but we had to go to the mall with my dad. And I remember being kind of happy because it did snow, but the snow was getting all cleared up and it was sunny outside and my mom let me wear shorts. And we're walking in and my dad just stops, grabs me, and he goes, Michelle, your legs, they're ashy. Why aren't you wearing lotion? People are going to see that and think we're a gross family. Very similar to the college thing, and he just looks at me like I am the most disgusting piece of and he made sure to walk in front of me so people didn't think we were together. Once again, I was 9. Literally, all he had to do was take some lotion, slap it on my little 9-year-old knees, and we could have had a pretty, still horrible shopping day. Now tell me if that was like appropriate as a father to a 9-year-old? Like, put lotion on your kid's legs. I still don't understand why he was so upset about that. Through the years of growing up, this is pretty much how it was with my father. I never enjoyed outings with my father. Whenever he was in the room or if we went somewhere on a family vacation, it was very stressful, unenjoyable, walking on eggshells, and just that fear in the back of your head that if you say something wrong or something that he didn't agree with, that you were going to be cut off and looked at as if you were just scum. That's what it kind of felt like when, you didn't say something that was under his beliefs. I could talk about this all day, but that's why we need to make it into a series, because this would just be a bajillion hours long of me just venting to you guys. I don't think y'all really have time for that, so we'll just split it up. Also, anyone who's saying,
oh, you shouldn't put this on here.
most likely my father and my father's friends and family. When you are basically told from a young age that your opinion doesn't matter, or that you're a liar when you just saw something straight up just happen, or that you're just wrong, or just simply be quiet and stop talking and be that little girl who sits in the corner and has no opinion of her own and no voice, that little girl grows up and she starts to say, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm not bleeping it out. I'm a grown-ass woman now, Dad. He hates when women curse, but I say fuck it. So I'm gonna say what I think on YouTube. Since the issues have been brought up to my father and he likes to disregard anything that me or my mother or my little sister has to say about the past and the present, this is the way that I'm going to decide to express myself about my childhood relationship and the relationship that I don't have right now with my father. I think finally actually just talking about it and just getting it out will help me mentally, because I have never been able to talk about it before, especially when I was a kid. And I've recently been talking about it to some of my personal training clients, and you would be amazed with how many other people were going through the same exact things that I was going through as a child. And sometimes it's just really nice to know that you are not alone. At least that's what I think. So next story time, we'll be talking about more narcissistic traits of narcissists, and leading up to the recent event of me cutting off my father because of physical altercations. That really pissed me off, quite frankly. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. It really does make me feel so much better talking about this with you, because once again, I wasn't allowed to express feelings when I was a child. So this felt like a good old therapy session. So thank you so freaking much. I feel refreshed. So until next time, make sure to subscribe, thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it or maybe if it helped you. Leave me a comment if you can relate or if you know someone who has narcissistic tendencies. And I will see you guys next time.